from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward half created some really good chances. With them actually scoring on the field in the final 5, created some really good chances ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession, but Bournemouth in the final 5 minutes of the half created some really good chances, and that ended with them actually scoring on the 44th minute. Francis crossing from the right, Wilson rising for the header, getting Bournemouth onto level terms, 1-1. At half-time, it's Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1, and no less than the Cherries deserve. It was City who went ahead on 16 minutes when long ball forward intended for Sane was parried away by Begovic. It fell to Bernardo Silva. He slammed home into the back of a pretty much open net. City continued to have all the possession. Welcome back for the second half of this Premier League clash. Set up nicely for the second 45 minutes. Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1. City starting the game really strongly. Had a good few chances early on and eventually got the opening goal on 16 minutes when Bernardo Silva slammed home. But Bournemouth grew into the game. They always looked to threat on the counter, and they really started to take a grip of it in the final 5, maybe even 10 minutes, and eventually got the equalising goal via the head of Callum Wilson. Much deserved. So they went in at the break at 1-1, and it's City who get us underway for this second half with a quick ball over the top. Sane won't get there, and Bournemouth can head away. The team's in full then. City, Ederson in goal, Danilo, Otamendi, Laporte and Zinchenko, Bernardo Silva, Fernandinho, Gundogan, Sterling, Jesus and Sane. Bournemouth on the attack here, so I'll come to their team in a moment. The force wide right-hand side, across the far post, is just beyond the runner there, and it will go out for a goal kick. Daniels it was, arriving at the back stick. Bournemouth, Begovic, Cook, Steve Cook, Ake, Mings, Francis, Daniels, Sermon, Lewis Cook, King, Wilson and Fraser. Good opening that for Bournemouth, Rob.
Yeah, I think Wilson's done really well to hold off Laporte. Laporte took a bit of a chance trying to gamble in front, but Wilson big enough and strong enough to hold him off. Then, of course, Laporte's wrong.
Arriving at the back stick. Bournemouth, Begovic, Cook, Steve Cook, Ake, Mings, Francis, Daniels, Sermon, Lewis Cook, King, Wilson and Fraser. Good opening that for Bournemouth, Rob.
Yeah, I think Wilson's done really well to hold off Laporte. Laporte took a bit of a chance trying to gamble in front, but Wilson big enough and strong enough to hold him off. Then, of course, Laporte's wrong.
Arriving at the back stick. Bournemouth, Begovic, Cook, Steve Cook, Ake, Mings, Francis, Daniels, Sermon, Lewis Cook, King, Wilson and Fraser. Good opening that for Bournemouth, Rob.
Yeah, I think Wilson's done really well to hold off Laporte. Laporte took a bit of a chance trying to gamble in front, but Wilson big enough and strong enough to hold him off. Then, of course, Laporte's wrong.
Arriving at the back stick. Bournemouth, Begovic, Cook, Steve Cook, Ake, Mings, Francis, Daniels, Sermon, Lewis Cook, King, Wilson and Fraser. Good opening that for Bournemouth, Rob.
Yeah, I think Wilson's done really well to hold off Laporte. Laporte took a bit of a chance trying to gamble in front, but Wilson big enough and strong enough to hold him off. Then, of course, Laporte's wrong.
to have pulled wider to the left, with Fernandinho almost playing as a centre-back alongside Otamendi. And here is Fernandinho again, taking the ball after it was miscontrolled by Wilson. Fired up towards Jesus, who does well under pressure. Is it back to Fernandinho? He'll now switch the play right-hand side. Captain finding Sterling, whose first touch is good, under pressure again. Drives inside Daniels. He's held up momentarily by King. He's got support from Bernardo Silva, who helps it further across now into Gundogan. They're wanting to go back to that right-hand side, City. Bernardo Silva can cross. It was a really awkward one. Bournemouth head out, but danger still not over. Sane goes up for the ball. It's half dealt with by Francis. Cleared away, and City starting to turn the screw again, but looks like the first half they're not finding a way through.
No, I mean, there's been a lot of crosses today. I mean, Man City obviously do utilise wide positions, but it's not usually crossed into the box. You know, there's a pull back or a 1-2 fired across the face, but they're just putting boxes in as Sterling drives into the box. He's beaten 2, he's still going, he's beaten 3, he's beaten 4, left-footed shot, took a deflection, hit the post. Jesus been denied on the follow-up. Man on the line. Sterling a little bit unlucky there. And the post has come to Bournemouth's rescue.
What a run that was from Sterling. He felt when he started it that he was going to look for a teammate, but no, he went past 3 initially and glided past another 2 on the edge of the penalty spot and eventually got the shot away. It wasn't the best of efforts, but the deflection is what made it so difficult for Begovic to deal with. It comes off Sermon in the end and sort of screws around off the inside of the post. Jesus just flat-footed, couldn't react quick enough. Bournemouth survive. Massive scare there. Sterling, who didn't really do too much of that in the first half, driving towards goal. He was happy to stay out wide. This time took matters into his own hands. We've had a substitution as well in the meantime. Delph has just come on for Zinchenko, so that nose injury obviously too bad to continue with. Sterling strikes one from an angle. It's parried away by Begovic, and Mings picks up the pieces. Tries to play out from the back and puts his own teammate under a bit of pressure. Bournemouth will win a free kick then.
Yeah, I mean, Zinchenko got an assist for the goal, but I don't think he's, particularly influenced this game. It sounds bizarre because he did play his part in the goal, but yeah, I think Delph might offer a bit more drive down the left-hand side.
Just 10 minutes gone in this second half. Manchester City 1, Bournemouth 1. We've had a substitution. Zinchenko picking up a nose injury after catching an elbow from his own teammate Fernandinho. He's had to go off, and Fabian Delph has come on to fill in at left-back. City have just had a really good chance. It was Raheem Sterling who drove forward. He beat 6 players on his route to goal, cutting in from the right-hand side. Eventually screwed his shot, deflected off Sermon, bounced onto the post. Jesus was close to the rebound, but just couldn't get there to angle it back on goal, and Bournemouth survived. At the other end, inside the opening couple of minutes, Bournemouth got to the byline. King hung up across to the far post. Daniels just couldn't quite get there. Good start.
Delph brings it forward for Man City on the halfway line. Almost showed a little bit too much to Lewis Cook. But that's a poor diagonal from Laporte. Sterling wasn't even challenging. Daniels' ball down the line is blocked by Sterling, so Mings will have to recover. Sends it up to the halfway line, but Otamendi wins it back for the home side. The scores remain as they were elsewhere in the Premier League, but right on the stroke of half-time, Brighton got an equaliser at home, away at 10-man Huddersfield, so that's now 1 apiece. The other scores haven't changed as City attack once again down their right.
A little back heel from Bernardo Silva. The cross will come in. It's fizzed across the face of goal. Far too much pace on it. It's going to go out for a throw-in. Poor, really, from Raheem Sterling. And we'll look back at his chance earlier on that came off the woodwork. Spotted a couple of subs warming up for City as well. Out there were Riyad Mahrez and David Silva. 2 I think you would expect maybe to be introduced to try and influence the play further down the field. Guardiola has already been forced into one change, may well have disrupted his plans a little bit, but as we approach the hour mark, that's when he might look for reinforcements further down the field. A driven shot here, saved, but turned in with the rebound. It's Raheem Sterling who gets Manchester City ahead. A real poacher's finish inside the 6-yard box after Begovic parried, not for the first time today.
Yeah, it's a good strike, isn't it, from Dineo, and Begovic couldn't quite keep hold of it. It's gone into a crowd. The first to react, he is quick, particularly over 5 yards. He got there first, and Sterling finds the back of the net, 2-1.
Well, Manchester City have restored their advantage. It all started from a Bournemouth throw deep inside their own half. Delph battled to win it back for the citizens, and then they switched the play quickly from left to right. Sterling driving it to the box. He left it for Danilo, whose driven shot was parried away by Begovic. Sterling had continued his run in towards goal and was able to react after Ake's clearance was poor. Sterling just prods in from 3 or 4 yards out into the roof of the net. Just shy of an hour gone. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1.
Yeah, I suppose you always look for reasons. I think Begovic could have done better. He's fairly close to him. He's got 2 hands on it. And then, of course, Ake could have done better. Obviously, he's got a reaction time which isn't particularly long, and it's just hit his foot, really, as opposed to him actually clearing it down at the line. It's teed it up nicely for Sterling. If it doesn't hit Ake, then maybe another Bournemouth player can clear. So he's kind of got in the way, if you like. But Sterling, predatory, onto it in a flash, on his right foot. I mean, it's taken a deflection, but the players are right on top of him, including the keeper. But importantly for City, he's found the back of the net, and they're back in front. You could sense a bit of relief around 1 or 2 players, given the celebration, as though it actually meant something. And it does, obviously. It's 3 points towards the title, potentially. Still a long time left in this game, and Bournemouth have already shown that they could threaten the other way, but of course now they're behind yet again.
City, having scored plenty of goals against Bournemouth in recent times, 13 in the 3 previous games at the Etihad Stadium in the Premier League, will feel that they've maybe got the ability now to push on and go and further enhance their lead in this game. 2-1 is certainly not going to be satisfactory for Pep Guardiola. You think back to how that first half went. City leading for so long, half an hour pretty much. They were ahead before Bournemouth levelled right on the stroke of the break, and I want to avoid any slip up again in the closing stages. As we mentioned before, all their rivals yet to play this weekend, so this is a perfect opportunity for City to get 3 points in the bag, pull a little bit clear at least for a short while of Liverpool, who play Everton tomorrow. Likes of Tottenham and Arsenal going head to head as well on Sunday. So it's a real good chance for City to try and open up a gap, as Laporte is struggling a little bit now. And again, that will be another concern for Pep Guardiola. He played a long ball downfield and then ended up on the deck. He's clutching his right knee. Referee Stuart Atwell has just had a word, I think, to say, do you want to go down and receive a bit of treatment? He seems to suggest that he's okay, but he's doubled over at the moment. Guardiola is calling someone over. Not quite sure if it's Laporte or another player, but in terms of substitutions, they've already been forced into one, Rob.
Yeah, I mean, that was just clearing a ball. I don't know whether he just twisted it a fraction or what. It might have been, I suppose, a remnant of a previous challenge. Perhaps just hasn't shaken it off. Difficult to tell right now. Half an hour to go. I'm sure Pep Guardiola wouldn't want to take a chance with, I suppose, his first choice centre-half. Put a lot of money for him. And obviously big games are coming up. I mean, they need him to actually see out this game, because Bournemouth do pose a threat. And with 4 centre-backs on the pitch, they could easily, cause a problem from a set piece. But I don't know, he was quite dismissive there, Laporte, of the referee's concern. Kind of waved him off and then hunched over again. I don't know what he was expecting the referee to do. But obviously wants to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany is on the bench. He's the only defensive reinforcement they've got to potentially come on, as Sane tries to get onto a ball in behind. It's a really good covering challenge from Bournemouth defender Steve Cook, who certainly not going to match Sane for pace, but he read the danger and was able to get into a good position to deal with it and make sure Sane didn't have a clear path through to go and get on that ball. Laporte has just picked up possession on the halfway line, seemed to be moving okay there, as and City give it away cheaply at the other end of the field. They'll go all the way back to Begovic, will Bournemouth. He'll hook it downfield towards Wilson. His first touch is poor. City have it again on the halfway line with Fernandinho. They'll be looking to try and strangle this game now. The ball forward from Gundogan is poor. And again, it's all the way through to Begovic. Just over an hour gone, 61.5 minutes. And the long clearance downfield from Begovic, dealt with by City at the back once again rather comfortably. We've not quite seen Bournemouth committing bodies forward so far in the second half. Danilo is going to chance his arm from the edge of the box, blocked away for a corner. I don't think City have had a corner yet.
No, I don't think of a corner. I mean, I'm surprised by the number of crosses they've actually put in. It seems unusually high to me, and I don't think one of them's worked. There was a couple of dangerous ones, but of course nobody got on the end of it. And largely, I think Bournemouth have dealt with set pieces or crosses rather pretty well. And then they've taken a short corner. Man City it is actually their second, and they've given it straight to Bournemouth.
Shocking. Fraser had read it. He was there. I know he's quick, but still had a fair bit of ground to make up to go and claim that ball. City, from taking a corner, have now been forced back to the opposite side of the field, inside their own half, and with a throw-in that Delph will take. Launched it down the line. It's flicked on well by the head of Jesus. Helped over the top, but Sane will be beaten to it by Mings. Gundogan's going to go and chase down here. He commits the foul. Will get himself in the book here, the German, as the Bournemouth skipper Francis stays down in the deck. I don't think Gundogan was ever really getting to that ball. In fact, he probably could have done it. It was a clever little flick away from Francis.
Yeah, we haven't seen many challenges though, and I don't think it's particularly malicious. Francis took it reasonably well as well. And I think it's just a talking to from the referee. I mean, the only real spat we've had was that Edison-Wilson one at the start of this second half. I mean, I don't think there's actually been that many challenges made in the game. Yeah, just a talking to, all in good spirits.
Forward from Bournemouth is poorly executed and will go out for a goal kick. Sermon was trying to send one of his teammates in behind the Manchester City backline. Elsewhere, no goals in the second half in the Premier League, so the scorelines remain the same. Crystal Palace 1, Burnley 0. Huddersfield 1, Brighton 1. Leicester 2, Watford 0. Newcastle 0, West Ham 1. And the late game to come tonight, the 5:30 kickoff, is Southampton against Manchester United. You can hear that on this service as well. Two sides struggling for form, I suppose you'd say, as Manchester City come out towards the left-hand side. Delph helps it forwards towards Sane. Back infield to Fernandinho. He's got no movement, really. Jesus then does drop off the front line to provide an option, but it's all very static from City. Used to seeing players making runs off defenders and dragging people out of position. But it's all in front of the Cherries at the moment, although City have the lead. I think Bournemouth will be happy enough for it to stay like this because they've got the chance to go and nick an equaliser.
Well, you don't expect opposing teams to make it easy for Man City. They haven't quite found the space in behind as they were doing at the start of the game. I think Bournemouth have settled down pretty well. Once or twice, it looked like there might be a danger, but someone has reacted, be it Mings or Cook down the left, or the two full-backs making vital challenges. And I think Bournemouth have stuck to their guns pretty well. Certainly on previous matches, you'd have expected, a walkover, but they're a little bit lucky to be 2-0 down, 2-1 behind, but it might get worse.
Sterling breaking into the box. He rode the first challenge well. His cross is dealt with, hooked away by Fraser. Good reading of the play then by Otamendi to go and reclaim possession for City. It's going to go out for a throw-in on City's left. King is trying to argue that it should be a Bournemouth throw, but his reaction seems to suggest that it might have gone the opposite way. Take a look at it again now. It did brush off Delph. And Gundogan flicks it over the top. Oh, it might even be a free kick here. There was a good handful of Gundogan's shirt, and I think possibly that's what it's been pulled back for, but it had come off King anyway for the throw. But City have got the free kick midway through Bournemouth's half. Goal elsewhere sees West Ham leading by 2-0 now at St James's Park. Bringing the name of the goal scorer soon. The free kick whipped in here. It was glanced on by the head of Jesus. Added a bit of pace to it, and Begovic had to parry behind.
Yeah, again, he's reacted well. I wonder if he could have actually claimed it. I'm not convinced first glance that was on target, but I mean, it's close, so there were, obviously you wouldn't want the keeper to leave that. Good save, made sure this time he just got enough on it to make sure it beat the post, as opposed to just getting a strong hand to it. I think there's an element of deliberateness about where he placed that.
Corner this time is going to be delivered in directly. Okay, though, we'll turn it straight away. Powering header from the former Chelsea man. It comes back in again from the right-hand side. It's gone beyond everyone. Jesus will claim it beyond the far post, leaves it for Sane now. Cuts in on his right foot, has to jump over a challenge and flicks it back out left-hand side. Jesus tries to promote it back in. It was more up in the air though, and Lake hasn't convinced with his clearance. Jesus has it again. Fizzed across goal, might come far post. Oh, it's beyond the post as Fernandinho put it back across goal. It was side to side there. The Brazilian can't find a way into the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of talent City possess. They look like they've been closed out, but Jesus found a way through. That shot sneaked away through. It stayed the wrong side of the post, though. Jesus staying on his feet. There's a little bit of a clip from behind for Francis. I think he's going for the ball, but he didn't get any of the ball and got a little bit of the man, but credit to Jesus there. Just didn't quite hit the target. I don't know how that made its way all the way through, though, but it stays out, and Bournemouth stay in this game, trailing 2-1.
Yeah, it went through the legs of a City player, and Sane was only inches away from getting a touch as well. Aguero again is the focus of our pitches. Watching on from up in the stands, Javier Hernandez has doubled West Ham's lead, his second of the afternoon. Chicharito enjoying himself at St James's Park. City take this throw in field. The referee has pulled them up for a foul throw this time. I mean, since Zinchenko do one before, it seems to be the curse of the left back. It's Delph this time who has committed the foul. And Cook will have the opportunity to send one long in for Bournemouth. Dangerous situation this. He's certainly capable, albeit 30-odd yards from goal, of getting this one well into the box, which he does, and it causes a bit of a scramble. City come through it unscathed and will hack it away downfield through Fernandinho. Goes all the way through to Begovic. There's no one downfield for City to go and make any sort of a challenge. So Begovic clears away. Francis with the flick on into City possession. Deep inside their own half on the edge of the box. Looking to start building a bit of momentum as they look to edge downfield, but in no great hurry at the moment. Midway through the second half, it's Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. Manchester City have had further chances since they took the lead. One of them from a free kick, Gundogan whipping it into the box. Gabriel Jesus on the edge of the area just flicked it on with the top of his head, and it was adding a little bit of pace to the ball. Begovic then had to react to his left-hand side to parry away. Might have been going wide, but he wasn't to know that. From the following corner, the breakdown of it, it came out to the left-hand side. Gabriel Jesus drove into the box, found Fernandinho, his compatriot, drilling across goal, and could only put narrowly wide of the far post. City leading 2-1.
Back in possession, going into the final quarter of the game. Playing themselves into a bit of trouble there. Otamendi, though, reversed it out towards Danilo. He was hugging the touchline. I don't know if he was just decided to play it safe and put it into touch. But Danilo then plays it off Daniels, and it will be a Man City throw with under 20 minutes to go now. David Brooks getting ready to come on. He, of course, started last week against the Gunners, but made way for an extra defender, if you like, in this one. Mings coming in. Of course, Cook and Sermon had replaced Lerma and Gosling as City break down the left, with Delph feeding the German Leroy Sané. Back in field to Sterling. Just going across the pitch has allowed Bournemouth players to get behind the ball. And it's now over on the right with Danilo. Bernardo Silva reversed it down the line for Jesus, who has stayed onside. Nobody in the box at the moment. There's three lurking on the edge, but they don't appear to want to go in. And the pass, therefore, is recycled back towards the halfway line. Delph towards Gundogan, back to Laporte, and City happy to bide their time. Back in front again, of course, as Otamendi now invites Bernardo Silva forward down the right. Doubled up, back inside to Danilo. Now Sterling back to goal, going away from defenders but away from danger. But Bournemouth at the moment can't win the ball back. Laporte bringing it forward, fires it out to Sané. Did well to keep it in. Now he goes round the outside of Francis as he took back, gets to the byline, digs out a cross just about, and Ake, well, cleared right out of Begovic's hands, and You don't get much credit for staying on your feet these days, but Sane might have gone down.
Yeah, I think it was just about enough from the defender to allow play to continue there. He'd been a little bit stronger, firmer in the challenge. Maybe you're looking at a penalty. Sane, again, from a starting position, he's just too good for Francis. He drops the shoulder once and then he injects the pace into it and bursts away. Credit Francis, he had a hand on him, but I think referee felt that there wasn't enough there.
Yeah, Brooks has come on. Obviously, it was looking like he was going to do. He's replaced Ryan Fraser. One change for Bournemouth. City have made a second change since Delph replaced Zinchenko. Laporte appears to be okay. Can tell you Brighton have grabbed the second goal away at 10-man Huddersfield. Sterling goes past Charlie Daniels, pulls it back. It's well intercepted by Sermon, getting across Mings actually. Again, only Jesus in the box. Very tough to blame the crosser as such. And City kept out once again as Laporte feeds it up towards Gundogan. Cook at his back wins the ball back. City wanted a free kick, which they're not going to get. And now Lewis Cook feeds it out to Francis on the right. One touch cross, deflected and hacked behind by Otamendi. A slight deflection, just wrong-footed him momentarily, and I would suggest he shinned that rather than volleyed it behind. Could have gone anywhere, but it has gone safe for the time being. A second corner for Bournemouth, and a chance for those centre-halves to come up from the back.
Yeah, they've not really had much opportunity in this second half. They'll just be relying on good delivery from Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks has swung it in towards the mixer. Edison's flapped and it's gone through the box. King's kept it alive left edge. Is allowed to turn, tries to dig out a cross left-footed, but it's blocked away just for a throw-in. But if Bournemouth were able to get more set pieces, particularly with that kind of delivery, you would think they might have a chance or two.
Yeah, that was exactly what they needed. Someone to put it into a dangerous area. Edison fancied himself, couldn't get there. Still not fully dealt with because these throws are almost like corners themselves.
Yeah, Francis has gone across from the right to take this from the left and deliver it. It's a little bit loopish. It's actually inadvertently flicked on by Jesus, and then Daniels, and then Wilson right in the goal line towards the near post. Did he get a touch? Edison, defenders around him. I think it's gone behind. Everybody's appealing for pretty much everything. Yeah, it looked like it might have come off Wilson last though, and I think it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, it seemed to come back onto it. Well, not even onto him. He never really connects with it. Oh, it has been given us a corner. He sort of sliced over the top of it and put it straight behind, I thought. I think in fairness, the officials were all blindsided to it.
The corner's whipped in short, from a short position rather, headed away near post by Fernandinho. Brooks didn't quite control it first time. That's allowed Sane to get a challenge in and has blocked into touch for just a throw. And I say just a throw in. They had half a chance a moment to go from a long throw the other side. Of course, Francis back on, Cook on the right, taking these long throws. Francis a target, but Mings is up there, and Wilson's shown his strength in the air towards that near post again. Cleared away by Fernandinho, and then Cook with a follow-up cross has hammered it over everybody and out of play for a throw-in far side, the City right, with David Silva about to enter the fray. Yeah,
getting some last-minute instructions from Pep Guardiola. Not quite sure what was going through the mind of the Bournemouth player there as he struck through the ball. I'm not sure if it was intended as a shot or a cross. It was neither, but 15 minutes to go. We're starting to see again Bournemouth deciding they want to play in this game a little bit further down the field, much like it was in the final 15 minutes or so of the first half. That's probably why we're seeing David Silva to come on and provide a little bit more control.
Lovely skills down the right from Danilo to keep it in and then beat his man defensively in his own half, but it's an awful pass down the line for Sterling. Slides into touch, and the throw-in will be for the visitors with less than 40 minutes of the 90 remaining. Andoni with the second goal for Brighton. Didn't give you the goal scorer. They're leading 2-1 at Huddersfield, having been a goal down, but of course Mounier sent off first half. I suppose has made it a little bit easier. No other changes to the scoreline. Still Palace 1, Burnley 0. Leicester 2, Watford 0. Huddersfield 1, Brighton 2, just told you about. And of course Newcastle 0, West Ham 2. And of course our game, well, still in the mix. City lead by 2-1. David Silva has come on for Jesus, who really hasn't done an awful lot.
No, he's struggled today, hasn't he? I don't know if he's maybe been carrying that injury. He seemed as though he was really uncomfortable early on, didn't he? Picked up a bit of a knock, and maybe that has affected his game. I'm not too sure, but he's definitely not taken the opportunity today with no Sergio Aguero. He could potentially have played a full 90 minutes had he been up and at it this afternoon, but he's brought up with 13 minutes to go against Bournemouth. Now they'll play with no recognised striker, but that's not to say they haven't got attacking options and forward players who can score goals.
City then in possession, playing it out from the back. Fernandinho strides up towards the halfway line and finds Gundogan. Now to Laporte, bringing it forward, feeding it to Delph. The earlier City change. David Silva gets his first touch. Back to the halfway line and Laporte. City, of course, just want to see out the 3 points. Can't always play scintillating attack in football. I mean, you might argue Liverpool haven't exactly been at their sort of attacking prowess from last season, but they're grinding out wins, and if City can do the same, they'll take it, as Sterling works a 1-2 with David Silva. Challenger made by Cook, and it will actually spin all the way from about 30 yards out behind for a corner kick to Man City. Only their fourth of the game. They haven't posed a great deal of threat from set piece, and the fact they've taken it short very quickly. It's with Danilo out to Bernardo Silva, right hand side, is allowed to turn and cross into the mixer, and it's just over the head of Otamendi. Might have glanced his head actually. He's appealing for a throw in. It's 1 against 3 there, because Sterling wasn't interested in the cross, and he's not that far away.
It's a really intelligent run actually from Otamendi. He stayed far wide on the left hand side, behind the last man, and then when he sees the chance, he makes the run across the defenders and gets the charge on. It's actually a City corner.
In towards the near post this time, and well, City are appealing for a penalty. It's headed back to the corner taker, and Sane finds David Silva down the line for Sane into the 6-yard box, but turned in a free Ilkay Gundogan rather, 6 yards out, very central. He's just tapped it in, brilliant down the left from Sane, and Silva, and Gundogan adds a third.
Well, City haven't been at their very best today, but they've just turned it up at the right time to go and give themselves a bit of breathing space heading into the final 10 minutes. Manchester City 3, Bournemouth 1 it is. Having started out from a corner kick delivered by Sane, Bournemouth cleared back to the corner kick taker. Sane works a cute little 1-2 with David Silva before drilling it to the edge of the 6-yard box. And inside what was an extremely crowded penalty area, Ilkay Gundogan had a good couple of yards of space all around him, and the German can simply tap into the back of the net with Begovic out beyond his near post, and Manchester City lead by 3-1.
Who would think that would be game, set and match then with just 10 minutes left. 3-1 to Man City, who know they've been in a game today. Haven't created as many chances as they probably would have liked to. Credit to Bournemouth on that one. Bournemouth have had sort of moments attacking the other ends, and they've got another here as Francis tries to work it forward towards Wilson, but the pass wasn't great. It was a little bit under hit, and a combination of Delph and Laporte are able to win it back, and some one-touch stuff in their own box sets Danilo away down the right-hand side, not at full pelt, happy to retain the ball now, doing enough, or done enough so far. Man City. That's just given away by Otamendi. Bournemouth will be busting a gut to at least give themselves a chance, although King with a crossfield pass to Francis underhit it, and Sane tracking back there does win it back for Man City with 9 minutes to go plus injury time. I can tell you Crystal Palace have got a second. Andros Townsend appears to have wrapped up the points. Burnley were challenging, well, they qualified for Europe last season. Things have not gone down a similar route this time around. 2-0 down with obviously time running out. 2-goal cushion for Leicester and West Ham. Brighton just 1 goal in front, but of course in this game City just adding their third, lead Bournemouth by 3-1, and Bournemouth at the moment chasing shadows, knocking it around as City do. Bournemouth, I mean, is there any point making a third change?
Not necessarily, really. I think only possibly just to get someone a bit of minutes, keep them happy. I made the trip, pretty long trip it is from the south coast to Manchester. Give everyone the opportunity, or as many people the opportunity as you can, to get a bit of a runner. I don't think there's any chance of Bournemouth finding a way back into this game. If anything, they might well go and concede another. City building quite nicely here, edge of the box, but Bournemouth crowd it, get bodies back and make it really tough to find a route to goal. So City have to be a little bit cuter as they work it between the likes of Silva, Delph and Sane. But I think Bournemouth would have travelled to the Etihad probably expecting this kind of result today. You look back at the previous visits, 13 goals, as we mentioned before, conceded in 3 games. So I don't think there's too much of a surprise that another 3 have found the back of the net today. 4-0, 4-0 and 5-1 on the last 3 visits. So I suppose they're heading in the right direction in terms of scoring in games now, but they just need to try and keep City at bay, prevent them from scoring 4 or more for the 4th consecutive time. City working along the halfway line with Gundogan, the goal scorer, appears to have wrapped the points up, and they'll come out towards Delph on the left, but he needs help from Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling can't work it through to a teammate, but it's blocked out towards Sane. Now Sterling and Sane on the same side are working a 1-2 before Sterling tries to round his man. It's only partially cleared back to Sane, infield to Fernandinho. Danilo down the channel for the runner Gundogan, scorer of the 3rd goal. Had options in the box, but keeps possession with a pass out to the right, and Bernardo Silva. Namesake David Silva takes over. He's gone away from goal, but he's got a good 10 yards of space to work with. Maybe Bournemouth's race has run. 6.5 minutes left. Not exactly pressing the ball carrier. I mean, if they had genuine hopes of getting something from this game, I thought they might be, attacking the City players in possession.
Yeah, I mean, there is still more than enough time to go and grab 2 goals in this game. We're just about to tick into the 85th minute, probably looking at around 3 minutes of additional time. So there is enough time. It's just a case of, I think the stuffing's been knocked out of them in the second half. Yes, they ended that first half with a flurry. They had a 5-minute period around the 70-minute mark in the second half when you felt maybe they could get back into it. Sane has just broken into the box now, and he might get the 4th saved over the bar by Begovic. But City have just pulled clear of them as the game has gone on.
Yeah, it's showing great composure in around the box there. It's a good ball from Laporte. Of course, his pace, he's got half a pitch to run into on this occasion. He gets there, he's turned Cook inside out, and it actually hit the back of Begovic. Looking at a replay, I wouldn't say Begovic almost ducked out of it. He's hit him on the back of the head. Junior Stanislas has actually come on for Josh King for the final few minutes, but it's a corner kick to Man City. Callum Wilson is actually going off as well, I think. It's in a better off-tube studio commentary. Yeah, that confirmed. With Lys Mousset coming on in his place. So changes have been made. All 3 now for Bournemouth. Like for like, really. As City have a corner on their right-hand side with the game into the final 5 minutes, plus whatever injury time the referee adds on. And the corner comes in towards the penalty spot. It eludes everybody. Sits up for Sane. Takes good chest control before rifling it towards goal. Daniel's in the way. Strikes him and balloons away from danger. But again, another corner.
It's a nice idea from Sane. I think the chest was decent. Maybe just got away from him a little bit, and that means he's stretching then to get the volley in. But it was still well struck and was probably heading on target. Would have been interesting to see where it had ended up if there was no defender in the way, but credit Bournemouth for getting bodies on the line and dealing with the situation before Asmir Begovic had to be called into action. Into the final few moments then of this Premier League game. Manchester City well on track for 3 points and to open up a bit of a gap at the top of the Premier League table before their rivals play over the course of this weekend. There's a feeling that City might even have a 4th goal in them. Leroy Sane has had a couple of good chances, one after he was played through by Laporte, had so much space to run into, took full advantage of it. Begovic almost turned away trying to make the save, and it came off his back and went over the bar from the resulting corner. It came to Sane on the edge of the box. He chested it down, volleyed goalwards, and there was a block in to stop it heading towards the top corner. Comfortable in the end for City on a difficult afternoon.
Change made by Man City. Obviously running down a little bit of the clock. Bernardo Silva is going off, and Riyad Mahrez is coming on, so not exactly a defensive change for the citizens. Round of applause for, well, presumably Bernardo Silva, who got the first goal, of course. Although it might be for Riyad Mahrez, who's coming on for the last 3 minutes plus injury time. And again, like for like, as Daniels hits a free kick diagonally towards the edge of the City box. Cook wins his header and finds Moussa as well. Now Brooks closed down well, but fights to work the ball back out to the right-hand side, although Francis is coming from an offside position. Flag goes up, and that'll be a free kick to Man City inside their own half. Doubt they'll be in a rush to take this one. Of course, they win this game, they go 5 points clear. Liverpool have... well, I suppose if you go on the historical evidence of a home derby with Everton, are going to pick up 3 points tomorrow and close the gap back. Of course, Spurs take on Arsenal away. Chelsea have got a derby, but you wouldn't necessarily say they're not going to beat Fulham at home. But it does put pressure on those sides ahead of, derby fixtures.
Yeah, I think it's always good for a side top of the table to play ahead of everyone, get those points in the bag, and you can sit back and watch the rest of the weekend unfold at your pleasure, really, hoping that at least one of them slips up, if not 2 or 3.
Daniels works a 1-2 with Brooks and digs out a cross, but it's fired in at Moussa, who couldn't quite control it. And now the break is on for Manchester City, with Riyad Mahrez crossing the halfway line into the centre circle, and Gundogan. Final 2 minutes plus injury time coming up as Leroy Sané has it, slows it down. Bournemouth, to their credit, got everybody back behind the ball, or everybody that they want back behind the ball, and they're not making it easy for Manchester City, but that's, I suppose, the class that they've demonstrated for a while now, the citizens. They do have goals in them, to say the least. 3-1 they lead with a minute to go, and to go all the way back to Edison. Bournemouth certainly enjoyed a good start, but this will now be a 4th defeat on the bounce, or ball over the top. Mahrez in behind, he's not offside. Tyrone Mings done brilliantly to get back. It was, I suppose, never quite came down. It was a bouncing ball, but Mings, with great pace there, puts it behind for a corner.
He's not had a bad game, has he, Tyrone Mings? I think sometimes can be criticised, but today has shown up quite well with those balls in behind. Against Sterling in the first half, he was toe-to-toe with him at times. And again with Morris, who's fresh off the bench, should be beating him for pace. Mings having played 89 minutes.
City with a corner then, which they're taking short. Mahrez and David Silva work it back towards the halfway line before Silva plays a good ball infield to Fabian Delph. Clips it back into the box towards David Silva. Daniels decides to take control with a head. And does find Stanislas, who then cuts inside his marker and sets Brooks away down the left-hand side. 90 minutes just about up. Haven't seen the board go up as yet. Brooks tried a little nutmeg on Fernandinho. Didn't quite work, and Danilo clears into touch for a throw into Bournemouth. Got there ahead of Marseille. 3 minutes of added time to be played, and we've just got into that. City leading by 3-1, with some defending to do at the moment. It's tough to see, even if they did score from this attacking throw, and getting a third, because unless the referee adds on plenty of time. Long throw into the box. It's a bouncing ball which eventually comes off Danilo. This will be a corner. I think he slightly misjudged his first attempt at a clearance, but in the end, happy just to see it behind. But 40 seconds rather than 3 minutes of added time played. Still an opportunity for the Cherries. All the big man up from the back. Stanislas with the delivery. Plenty of movement. Delivery's got to be good. It's into the 6-yard box. Ake is the closest to it. Cook just behind him. It's actually punched clear by Edison. Cook stayed on the deck. This is Steve Cook, not Lewis. And it will be I thought it was another corner. The referee's just having a word with Edison. Is he giving a free kick to Man City there?
I think he's saying you shouldn't help a player up if he's down with a head injury. Just leave him on the floor. I think it's more concern over the health. If it was a bad neck injury or something, you maybe worsen it by trying to help someone up. Just leave him to it and let the medical team get on it, I think he was saying.
Well, the decision one way or the other has gone the way of Man City. Maybe it came off a Bournemouth player last. City, with half of injury time played, have possession back, admittedly in their own half, but they've shown throughout 90 minutes that they can pass the ball around. Merrick Laporte holds off Brooks to Otamendi. A 1-2 with Danilo, back to Edison. Fernandinho comes deep, collects, not followed, easy to turn and find a teammate. It is Sterling. Now David Silva down the channel for Leroy Sané. He's got a bit of space in behind Cook. Pulls it back first time to Sterling, just to the left of the D, who faked one shot, then tried to square it for Danilo. Wasn't a great ball. Strong challenge from Brooks, wins the ball back on Gundogan. And now potentially a break on for the Cherries, although Stanislas didn't see who was coming behind. It was Danilo backtracking, wins possession back. And City, with 30 seconds left, again in control of the ball, will come forward again. Had a chance to get a fourth there, but Sané rather unselfishly squared for Sterling. He could have had a shot himself, but again, tried to pick out a teammate. They've probably got this game wrapped up. Well, they have got this game wrapped up as Mings needs two headers to clear a ball over the top. Only finds Danilo. Now David Silva. The 3 minutes of time had just about been played. Silva arrows it into the box, collected by Begovic. One last chance for a Bournemouth, although they are very much inside their own half. The referee has seen enough. Job done as far as Manchester City are concerned. It wasn't easy.